Hey everybody, Tommy here, World at War Comics, and I have another amazing guest. But before we get into that, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, make sure you share. It definitely helps out the channel. All right, without further ado, my next guest is Mr. Llord Jones. Him and his wife, Tosha, are the owners of Midnight Comics, and right now they have Gray issues 1 through 3 on Kickstarter. Get over there and pick it up. Without further ado, here is Llord and I hope you enjoy. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. My next special guest, Mr. Llord Jones. He is the owner and founder with his lovely wife of Midnight Comics. Llord, thank you for joining me today. I cannot wait to talk about Gray and everything that's been going on in the world of Midnight. How you doing, my friend?
No, doing good, man. Thanks for having us all, bro. Sorry Tasha couldn't be here at the moment, but yeah, definitely she's here in spirit. She's here in spirit.
Yeah, no, I follow you all on YouTube and obviously follow you on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, you guys are the dynamic couple for sure when it comes to comic book creating and all that good stuff. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on all the success.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a good 4 years. Good 4 years.
Now, like a lot of people, is this the birth of Midnight? Did that come forth during the pandemic? Like so many people who were sitting around and stuck in their house are like, man, I love comics. Maybe now's the time to start.
So right before COVID, actually, we had started. Tasha was the one, definitely the catalyst. Like
Okay.
it was one of those like, we should do this. And it's like, I don't know, man. She's like, no, we're doing this, right? So that was honestly more 2019, because by the time we actually formulated the business proper, you know what I mean? Like, again, it was already getting done, but 2020 is when we launched it. But the first 2 books of the manga were done and ready to get out there. So kinda to answer your question, kinda.
A little before though, so that wasn't what like triggered it. It sounds like
Right.
you all had this, at least Tosha already had this in her mind that this is what we're going to be doing here. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, I was just telling you before we hit record, my first kind of entrance into Midnight were these, issues 1 and 2, which are kind of like an anthology, right? It gives you a quick snippet of all the amazing characters that you both have created and written, which is awesome. And I was happy to know a little bit about Gray and everything that was going on with that title, because you did have a short story in there.
Yes.
So it seems like a lot of these characters you developed first and then started building stories around those characters. Did I have that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, yeah, all the titles in there, we do want to do like longer series, but what we wanted to do, because we didn't have how to say this, we wanted to come out with short versions of all the titles that we have, because we have a lot of titles and stuff like that. But yeah, we wanted to give those quick snippets, get you guys excited, so that we can ask y'all, well, who did you like best?
Yeah.
And then that's where we decide where's the time and energy going into. So yeah.
I love it. Well, out of all the characters, there's quite a few in these, at least the 2 that I have, and I'm sure there's been more since. Do you have one that you're most passionate about, or are they like children and that's hard to do?
So my favorite character is the Gray, but I don't write her. Tasha writes her, so I get to wait and read it as a fan. And so when we made her, when we created that character, she just stood out, right? Because she's a regular person, right? She doesn't have powers, right? She's super smart, right? And we have a lot of ideas, but sometimes we don't think things all the way through. She just feels like us, like a regular person. So and all the antics and stuff that she's going to find herself in. But yeah, I think she's my favorite. Now, in regards to writing myself, I think Soul at the moment is my favorite one to write, for sure.
Looks dope, man. I love when everything lights up. It looks incredible, man.
And we have so for Soul 3, we got a new artist, Gabriel Nisi. Oh, he's fantastic. And the work, he's gotten even better since doing Soul 3. So when Soul 4 drops, y'all are in for a treat. I'll say it that way. Definitely in for a treat.
I love it. I love it. So, when did all of the creation of all these characters begin? Was it at that same time in like 2019, or have you all been kind of just for fun creating characters, and if it ever happened, we would start to build stories around them?
So funny enough, is it right here? Oh, so the initial creation of some of these characters, the one that the sketchbook that I'm looking for is not right next to me where I thought it was going to be, but way back when in high school, the 3 stories that they were all one story at the time. Dogma, Last Day, and the Unbeloved were all the same story back in high school. So there was no superhero characters, right? And Tosha, she did make a superhero character. Admani is the first character. So our initial roster didn't even consist of Soul, the Gray, or Blue Morpho, or any of them. Those came after. So when I did the initial designs for them. When we made them, it was the end of, goodness, I want to say the end of 2019 into 2020. No. Yeah, into 2020. I got the years mixed up. 2020 into 2021 is when we started getting the designs. I did the designs and started getting stuff worked on for those characters. And so I drew my first design for them November, December, and the book with them in it came out September 2021.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I love it. So as a couple coming together to build out all these worlds, I always like to ask kind of the background on the names of the characters, who they might represent. Like, are they just fictional characters that you developed, or do you have kids and are you naming some of these characters after kids or other family member, all that good stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So in Dogma, there's a young lady that has green hair. They're demon hunters and stuff, all cool and stuff, but she actually has spina bifida. Right. And she's had to overcome that. Our youngest, whose name is Ray, has spina bifida. Right. So it's kind of that, like, nod towards her for that. Admani is loosely based on Tasha's life. Just add in, fire powers. Right. Let's see. In regards to naming characters, Soul, of course, translates to sun. But then his last name is Jackson. Right. And so that means God is gracious. So together you have the sun God is gracious. What's his power set? He gets his powers from Ra, the sun guy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's little hints and stuff like that in there. I don't have a character that's like me as of yet. Even the guy in The Last Day, he's got the locks and all this other stuff. He's actually based on another friend of ours. I was like, man, I've envisioned this character and he looks like you. Can we use your likeness? So, but yeah, no characters for me yet. Coming soon.
Gotcha. Now, I asked this of everybody that I have on. I would love to know where the passion for storytelling began in your life. And was there someone in your life that really encouraged you to be a storyteller?
So I initially wanted to get into video game design. My favorite games ever, Metal Gear Solid and Star Fox 64. Like, the similarities between the two are insane, right? Star Fox is a band of mercenaries, right? Fighting against this threat and stuff like that. There's betrayal, there's espionage, there's all this other stuff. Even in that backstory, you're just like, man, they had a whole mole in Pigma and Andros that infiltrated the whole situation. Fox's dad is dead, and I'm like, this is insane. It's great, but it's told in a way. It came out, so I was 7 when I think that game came out in 97. So like it was easy enough. It's like, it's animals shooting stuff out of the sky and the planes and stuff. But as I got older, I'm just like, this is a deeper, like, kind of situation that's happened here. How can I kind of do the same for, anybody else, right? Be able to tell these type of stories where there's a deeper meaning. There could be a deeper situation, or it could just be fun, right? But then Metal Gear Solid, 2 years later, I think, or a year or two later comes out. And I probably shouldn't have been playing that game at that point in time, but whatever. I used to get mad because I got stuck on that torture machine part. I'm just like, come on, I could do this. But just the idea of you never truly know what's going on until it's too late. Like he lost for all intents and purposes. Like, Great Fox helped him out, but like he screwed up. And it's like, man, the heroes don't always have to necessarily win or know what's going on. Dang, the whole time you was doing everything wrong. Yeah. And I love that. Right? Because now how do you overcome that even still and still try to figure out a way to prevail? Right. And so that's always kind of stuck with me. And it's kind of the initial premise for Midnight Comics, right? Like, what happens when regular people have to pick up the pieces, right? And still try to, persevere and endure. If we talk about the Unbeloved story, the apocalypse already happened. It's up to the kids to figure out how to prevent the second one. Right, it's already over. So, but yeah. My dad, he's a fantastic artist. He's the one that got me into comic books and stuff. Some of his paintings are right here in the background. You know what?
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Like that there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So You know, he got me into comic books, decent age. Heck, he got me into anime. My starter anime was Fist of the North Star, thanks to him.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, shouldn't have been watching that either. But you know, it's all good, right? But yeah, So yeah, definitely my dad for sure in that respect.
So did you start more as an artist and then kind of grew into a writer, or vice versa?
Yes, definitely started off more as an artist, but then I found myself, you know, whether we're watching anime, you know, reading comics, stuff like that. It's like, why did they do that? Wouldn't it make more sense? And just over the years was just like, you know, rewriting stories, how we would have made it better, this, that, and the third. And eventually, like I said, Tosha was just like, we keep doing it for other people's stuff. We can just do it. He's like, you know what? All right, fine. Let's do it. So, yeah, humble beginnings.
Well, you guys have a great following. Obviously, you've had a lot of successful Kickstarters. For those that might be new to Midnight Comics, can you kind of give us a little background of how you came up with the name, what your organization or your comic book publishing company represents for you? I think that's really important to make those connections with fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So several things, right? So we have a doomsday clock, right, in real life, and we're always X amount of time from midnight. And so because of the darker tones that we do want to tackle in our stories, right, and again, like I told you, Dogma technically takes place in an apocalyptic situation. Unbeloved does, because again, it's how do we, in a hopeless situation, still find a way of overcoming? And even in the logo, right, although it's that blood moon, it looks ominous, darkness is coming, there's still that sliver of light, right, that, you know, there's still hope. Right. On top of that, you know, midnight, darkness, black-owned company, black family, all this other stuff. So all those things combined kind of made that, right? And again, just trying to be that voice. Like, again, we all come from different walks of life. We're all going to go through struggle. But as long as we're still here, there's still hope. So, yeah.
You know, I've as a comic book lover, and I certainly find myself spending a lot more money on indie comics these days than I do the big two, although I'm a big fan of the big two, so no shade thrown at the big two, but I find some of the more unique storytelling is taking place in indie, right? And I can only imagine, like, if I ever got a gig and I was able to write Batman, which would be amazing, right? I'm sure I could come up with some kind of stories, but Batman has been through so much to come up with something super unique that kind of stays close to who Batman is, but tells a new story. God bless anybody who gets a label like that and is put in that position and is able to do it, because I think that is really difficult. So what I find is sometimes some of the most unique stories are happening on the indie side of it, because obviously these are newer characters. You don't have this long history behind it. So you could tell some really unique things that Batman would never put himself into or be put into, right? So I do love that side of it. I don't know how your feeling is on the indie side compared to the big two, and if you feel the same way.
There is very seldom is there like, again, love big two, but more times than not, I think we've probably purchased in the last year 10 books total of the big two. In comparison, we probably got a comic book box worth of indie last year, right? Between going to conventions and Kickstarters, that's where it's at. Ray Comics, TJ Sterling, oh my gosh, I think it was last year. I met him at BlurCon and bought his whole collection. And on the ride home, I'm just like, this been out here this whole time I've been missing? Dark History for Alchemist, bro, and Joystick Angels? I was like, okay, like, we can write, we do a decent job, but he set a bar. You know what I'm saying? He set a bar. So I was just like, that was kind of reinvigorated. But yeah, there's a lot of indie comics out here that's just so much better. Now, if I were to bring up big two, I really did like that Deceased series. That was good.
That was fun.
That was good. I'm curious to know more about this Aliens versus Avengers situation. I like the premise. I want to know more though. But yeah, there's, you know, they got some stuff. The Storm series that's going on right now is pretty good. But more times than not, man. More times than not, the indie side is killing it, bro.
I know, I couldn't agree more. And I would love your perspective from a Black-owned publisher. Why is it so important that these characters are being developed for Black the Black community. I'm good friends with Derek over at Konkret. I'm really good friends with Tyler at Godhood, and I'd love to know your I know their perspective, but I would love to know yours, because I think it's really important that these type of characters are being developed that are extremely relatable. People can see themselves in these characters. I think that's really important. And when you look at the big two, although we have some great characters, Power Company that just released was awesome. Black Lightning, Mr. Terrific. Obviously on the Marvel side, we got Black Panther, Luke Cage. Like there's some amazing stuff out there, right? But they were not all of them were created from a Black perspective. Can you kind of talk about how important that is for your organization and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's of course the representation aspect to try to kind of tackle, get out of the same situation, the same kind of tropes, right? Of course, every character ain't gotta have lightning powers. Everybody doesn't have to have a military background. You know what I mean? Like, from the hood or the streets and all that stuff. No, let's show the Gray. She's a scientist, right? Top of her class. She's out here, super book smart, but not street smart, right? So his parents are archaeologists. He has no, it's a coming of age story. And there's this, we don't know our own history to the extent that we should. So he's got the powers of these Egyptian gods, but no knowledge of it. So it's kind of that parallel of, what are we going to do when we understand that we have a certain power to us, but we lack the knowledge? Are we going to go and seek it, or are we going to run away from what we really are? Right. Admani, she's dealing with mental health, which in our community was for decades, right? Taboo, right? Nobody wanted to touch that. It's very new for us in these last couple of decades to say, hey, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z, and actually seek help. That's what that's covering, right? And then Blue Morpho, where this is where it kind of comes to somewhat recent times, although the story takes place in the 90s, right? What happens when you do everything right? She was an activist, right? She was doing all the stuff. The Rodney King incident happens. That's the timeline it takes place in. You did everything right. And then, you get in trouble. You go to a protest. You end up in the LA riots. You get arrested. You lose your scholarship. What do you do with that anger, right? Do you become this vigilante, or do you stay trying to? What do you do with that anger and frustration, right? There's not enough of that behind the mask kind of representation. We see the action. We see them in costume and doing stuff. But who are they when they get home, right? And that's a lot of the stuff that we tackle in these stories. You're going to see the Gray. Not necessarily day by day. Well, in issues 2 and 3, you kind of do, but like you're going to see the development of who Shameka is versus who the Gray is, right? It's you're going to build up with them, right? Like I explained with Blue Morpho, you're understanding who Yara is and where that frustration is before you see her don, the moniker Blue Morpho, right? And so again, it's let me see me in first. What's that representation of who they are first? And that journey that led them there to show, hey, these are the paths you could take. Here's the consequence of actions, good or bad, right? So, yeah, it was just very important to capture the different experiences, that we all have. So, yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And I love it. And I really appreciate you being open to share your vision. I think that's really important for people to know as they're digging into your publishing company. I'm going to pull up the Kickstarter right now because it looks amazing. So let's take a look at it. Bear with me right quick.
You got it.
I'm almost 50, man. I'm starting to embarrass myself when I try to do things on the computer. My kids, dude, you're so slow and old, man. All right, keep going, my friend. All right, Lloyd, here we go. Issues 1 through 3. So this has not been available yet. These 3 issues, right? They're all being available now, or you've already launched 1 and 2 before.
1 and 2 before, but we tried to do a straight to website with 2. And it didn't quite work out, if I'm being transparent. So it's kind of like getting some more shine in this one, right? Because some people was like, oh, I didn't even know 2 or 3 or 2 was out. It's like, oh, okay, noted. So for the masses, issue 1 has been a thing, but for the masses, 2 and 3 is like, oh, I didn't even know we were this far. So yeah.
Well, I love it, man. You're less than $500 away, 10 days to go. So you've already gone through the valley of death. Now it's time for things to start kicking in. Because as you know, man, like those middle 10 days are hell, bro. You're just like, come on, someone come to the site, right?
It's funny. We have been experimenting with Kickstarter. We do shorter ones. We only do 15. This is 15 days.
Oh, then you're in good shape, man.
So we're in good shape.
I'm assuming that it's a 30-day like most are. I'm like, yeah, you're at the last 10. So you're in good shape, Lloyd. I mean, that's awesome. Congratulations. That changes everything I was thinking, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, that was, So it's doing some experiments with it and realizing the first couple days, right? The first 3 days of a Kickstarter, it's hot, right? Everybody's on it. But then the next time you see that spike is the last 3 days, right? So why stretch it out 30 days when there's only 6 days that really matter, right? So so that's been the experiment, and honestly, it's been working. So
good, man. I'd be so nervous to shorten it, but I'm glad that you're telling me that, because I think other creators, they can maybe learn from that, right? You got to play around with the algorithm too, right? And there's so much competition on Kickstarter. I believe, although I shop at all of them, I believe it's by far the best place to place your comic book, just because people are already accustomed to going there. But man, to play around with the algorithm, you're always a little nervous. So I'm glad that you're paving the road, Lloyd, for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and so I have a show called Indie Breakdown, and we turned it into a group. And one of the things that we introduced, me, Tosha, and Lonzo, we started something called the $1 challenge, right? And so within the group, there's 4,000 people, right? And we said, well, if everybody in here drops $1 to each of these campaigns, okay, there's 10 campaigns going on right now. Everybody gets over the hump. Everybody gets funded. And if they got stretch goals, that dollar still gets you that free stretch goal, right? And so why not, right? So again, just trying to, we know the couple days that it matters, but then it's like we've cultivated a group for visibility for other people, their platforms and stuff. And if we can continue to kind of invite these initiatives so that everybody is supported, everybody is seen, Kickstarters don't have to be daunting. Everybody will have a chance to get their projects out there and be able to live through their passions, right? So experimenting with that's something new that just dropped this last week, really. And we're us and Michael Watson's or Freestyle Comics rather, Emerald Quest is the last two, but out of everybody on the list, all of them are funded now. That's what I mean? So it's just like, it's about community. It really
is. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It is about community. And that's another thing I love, man. The indie community is pretty amazing, man. It's just, we all know the struggles, and we're there to support one another. And I absolutely love it. All right, my friend, let's jump in real quick. I'm going to scroll down real quick, and maybe you could kind of walk through what we're looking at, Lloyd. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I wanted to give a shout out. We did a video. So Kira Brown from Rooful of Blurs is the voice actress for the Gray. And so, so if anybody goes to the video, click on it. That's the voice that y'all are hearing, who's talking in the background. So she did a phenomenal job. So, but anyway, I just wanted to give her a shout out.
No, please. Yeah, that's awesome. I could certainly play it, but for whatever reason, you won't hear the sound. Only I will. I'm sure it's a setting that I got to figure out, but I just don't know how to do it. But you want me to play it though?
I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Let's do it. And then anybody who's watching, please go over there and check it out yourself. The link is going to be below. We're going to make it super easy for you to get over here and to back this campaign, and then watch the video so you actually get the sound. But let's check it out.
You may be wondering, what exactly happened here? Well, my name is Shameka Day. I'm an experimental physicist working at the Desitron in my home state of Waxahachie, Texas. I developed particle accelerator gloves powered by black holes. My goal, save the world. The people in charge, however, were only worried about profiteering. So I did what any rational person would do. I took my tech back. Okay, well, maybe no one would actually do that. And maybe the tech doesn't technically or legally belong to me, but it's my life's work, and they wouldn't be here without me. I had a nice time with my friends afterwards. It was nice to have a day where I could pretend none of this was going on. I felt awful hiding what I'd done from them. Now I'm back to work, but something feels off. Maybe I didn't think this through as logically as I should have.
So is that, she's super smart, but like you went in there and stole your tech back specifically after complaining about it?
Yeah. I will have to wait and see what she with that tech in order to fight everything that she's trying to fight from a corruption standpoint. So the art is amazing, by the way.
Yes. The artist is Tiger Salmon on Instagram. He is phenomenal. The cover artist is Autumn Askew for the issue 2 cover. And on the right-hand side, it's Michaela Moore, who did the cover for issue 3. Fantastic. Both of them.
Beautiful, man. It looks cool. It looks really cool. All right, man.
No,
If you
that
want to
issue
just
zero
kind of
covers.
walk us through everything that we're looking at, Lloyd, that way we all have a
Sure.
good understanding of what we could expect from the Gray.
Absolutely. So, as the thing up there at the top, really, essentially, those are the cover, the image right there is just the issue 2 and issue 3 cover, respectively. We bring up the fact that the Gray ended up being the second favorite in the community.
Really?
Her first issue, or her issue 0 was only 4 pages, and it shocked me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought the Blue Morpho was gonna be Soul and Blue Morpho in my head, but Soul and the Gray and only 4 pages. But I think it was the mystery of, wait, who's attacking her right now? Who just came in and saved her? And what exactly is this technology that she has that everybody is after right now? So that's essentially what that little blurb is right there. But yeah, she made her debut in Tales from Midnight issue 1, which of course was that anthology that included 4 separate stories in there. Our goal is 2,500, but of course,
Yeah.
we're always welcome to more. So we do put on in that 10K would actually help us get pretty close to finishing at least that first arc, and of course allow us to do so much more with the character. So much more with the character that we'll talk about once we hit those that initial funding and start discussing the stretch goals. Because we got a lot of stuff planned in store for her. So yeah.
Love it, man. I love it. Yeah. And anybody who's ever tried to make a comic book, it does not cost $2,000 to do. It costs more than that, right? So
It does.
you got to have a passion for what you're doing in order to be an indie creator. And, like you said, it's all about community and building that community because, it's expensive, man. It's expensive hobby. My wife tells me all the time, man, you got an expensive hobby, man.
And so luckily enough, thank God, right? We got enough from the previous one to get the next one, right? And so actually, Tiger has already finished. Well, he's inked the first 5 pages of issue 4 already. Oh. So by the time this is done, we can get ready to get started and get the rest in production as well. So I'm very excited for that.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, so here we go. This is cover 1 right here.
Technically, that's awesome. A typo. It's supposed to be issue 0. Apologies.
Oh, this is okay.
Yep. That's issue 0. Yeah, the cover that you see on the right hand side with the brown and yellow. That's the issue 1 cover. But I fixed it, but then Kickstarter was like, "Oh, this image. I don't like this image. Try again." I was like, "Oh, we'll keep it as is." But that image was actually done by Vince White, actually way back when. So he did that image and actually did that title or logo as well. That cover kind of gives you the idea of, okay, super smart. Oh, she's got a suit in the background. She's developing this tech. What exactly has she got going on? So just wanted to try to convey as much as possible, her expertise and kind of how she's not a loner, right? Because she has friends and stuff like that, but she's kind of set apart in regards to her field, right? She's just doesn't need a team. Right, she's just her. You know what I mean. So just trying our best.
Experimental physicist, right? If I'm not
yes, but obviously still has a knack for a little bit of engineering, right? Since she's putting together her own stuff. So again, with those with the gloves that she wears, so they are particle accelerators. That's on the gloves, right? And then when you power them on, what ends up happening is it generates enough energy to create that artificial black hole, which then continues to power the particle accelerator itself, so she could shoot the blast and stuff like that.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
So tried our best to make it grounded enough, right? So tried to learn a couple of things about stuff, right? But so we try our best. So we'll be definitely exploring that a lot more as the series progresses.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at the most popular comic books, right, you have Batman, you have Iron Man. Very similar, right? In and of themselves, they have no real powers, right? It's really through technology and I guess on Bruce Wayne's, it's money, right? If you have enough money.
Right.
So he's obviously not really the mind behind a lot of that. He has people around him.
Right.
But you look at Iron Man, it's very similar. So I could see why she would be so popular. I think people want people that are relatable, that just happen to have a certain skill set and a certain knowledge to be able to do things that most can't, and then utilize that for good, right? And I think all of us, I feel like it's attainable, even though it's not, but it feels more attainable than being Spider-Man or Superman, right?
Right. Yeah. It's not a foreign situation, right? Like I don't have to get bit by a spider. I don't have to be from another planet. I could build this, right? So
yeah. I love it, man. I love it. That's awesome. So here we get some of the interior. So I do remember this from Zero, right?
Yes. So yeah, she's she's not at home. She's at a random hotel on the run, right? But even still on the run, she's like, "Oh, I could still upgrade this, right?" Because she's still, bless her heart. I love this character. She gets so hyper fixated on finishing up a project or what have you. But of course. So yeah, then the folks that are after try to get it back.
Yeah.
They tracked her down. So, then
issue one. This is one right here.
This is issue one. Yeah. And then we dive in here, and we go back to the past. Right, we pick up with her essentially, at work before everything really gets started, and when she kind of takes them out for a good little test run as well.
Love it. And that's that tiger cover right
Tiger
there.
salmon, yeah. And so I love that mug, the Stay Positive. I absolutely love that mug. But also the chair that she's sitting in is a play on Professor X's chair from the animated series as well. Tosha is a big X-Men fan. And if I didn't say before, Tosha is the author. We both created the character, but she is the author of this story. But yeah, I love the little kind of Easter eggs and kind of neat little plugs and stuff. Again, that mug, I really want to get a mug like that made.
Yeah, that could be almost like if you reach certain goals, that could be part of the awards, because that would be awesome. Do Stay Positive on one side, Midnight Comics on the other. I would definitely go after one of those, man. That would be awesome.
Say less. It shall be.
I love it. All right, here we got two, right?
Yes. So after she, she's looking at it for that cover, man, it's glorious.
It's beautiful, man.
When designing the covers, my hope always, so I'll do the design and then I'll send it to whatever artist to actually do. But the goal in a lot of these covers is to tell the story of what's happening and what will be on it. We don't want to, we've seen so many covers in the past of comics where it's just like, oh man, I'm just gonna throw a name out there. Oh man, they're fighting Doomsday again in this one, and they had a barbecue or something. You're just like, that's not what y'all sold me, right? But at the very least, on the front covers, it's going to be some play on a scene that takes place in the series, right? So what's really happening in this one, this is where she tries to, steal her tech back and get rid of it, right? So we see her, we see the buildings and stuff in the background and how daunting it is and stuff. But we know that as she's going through this journey, what she'll eventually become, and that's that looming personality in the background. Right, she is going to become this character, but she's got to go through this turmoil, be at rock bottom, if you would. That's why she's on the bottom, this rock bottom, if you would, to progress to what she'll eventually become.
That's awesome. So it seems like this tech maybe has been provided to an evil group, and now there's a fear that they're going to utilize it in the wrong way. So that to get it back is really important to her, right? Am I got that so far, or that seemed so far like just a little bit?
Yes, and then there's kind of a yes. There's partially a selfish side of like they're not going to use it right. You know what I mean? They're not going to use it. Sure. But then when you start talking about black holes, right? There's that fear, like if you guys accidentally use this the wrong way, you could destroy everything. Yeah. And the best hands are my own, right? Like a kid, I will supervise this. I will show, But yeah, so there's a very complex emotion for her behind that. And we see the initial emotion in this issue.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, that cover so far is my favorite, man. I love that cover. Just the art, her hair, her outfit, everything about it just looks amazing.
And it's so simple, right?
It is, but I think that's what it is.
That's what makes it.
The simplicity, yeah.
Yeah. Man. Love it. The colors, everything, man. Autumn
eyes,
a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, she's gorgeous on that, man. It looks awesome. Yes.
And then there's that again, right? That's exactly like on the cover, right? Where it's that's where she works at, but because of what she's about to do, it's just this looming kind of, intimidating situation. Like, do I really want to do this? What does it mean if I go against this? This is bigger than me, right? So yeah, I love this right here.
That's awesome, man. And then here we go. I mean, such a different style, unique, awesome in its own right. But I love that art style.
Yes. So that was Michaela's, and this is actually a play on the Metal Gear, the very first Metal Gear cover. right? So, you got the wall, snakes up against the wall. You like the Metal Gears, like on the bottom left and stuff like that. But we did, funny enough, right? Issue 1 had one version of the Gray on it. Issue 2 has 2 versions of the Gray on it. Now issue 3 has 3 versions of the Gray on it. But yeah, so it's just kind of her.
It shows development, though, right? It shows development.
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, again, bottom right, we see issue 1, right? On the left, we see issue 2. And then, of course, in the middle, not necessarily her now, but we see that, again, there's going to be a progression. We see that she's kind of stepping into the role and, taking the necessary steps. We actually see the suit for the first time kind of being put together in this issue.
That's always exciting, man.
Oh yeah.
That looks dope. Then we have some interiors here, which just look amazing. I love the art, man. The interior art is incredible.
Yeah, Tiger, you could see the progression because Tiger was the artist on 1, 2, and 3, and you just see that progression. Every issue gets better and better.
Yeah,
it's like a painting kind of art style with it.
Yeah, for sure. Even the kind of the biting of the lip out of stress, worry. Like, I don't know, as an artist, those type of things to come across, I think, are a little bit difficult. And just nailed it, man. Just nailed it.
Flawless with it, man.
Yeah, so, shadowing, everything about it. Congrats. So,
I was gonna speak to that page, but nah. Y'all gotta wait on that one. This is the new one. This is the new
one. We want people to buy this, right? That's awesome, man. So we got a few more interiors here.
Yeah, we actually get to see a little bit of the threat that's kind of behind the situation. And when you guys, nope, I'm the Mark Ruffalo or Tom Holland.
Don't do it.
I am. I ain't gonna say nothing else. You get to meet some of the major players in the game in this issue.
Very good. Yeah. Don't get in trouble, man. Don't get in trouble.
It's so tempting. But yeah, he's my favorite character, man. Where Soul would have just fought his way through something. Same with Blue Morpho, right?
Yeah.
What is she going to do? What sleuthing and all this other stuff. What is she going to do to overcome this? She doesn't work out, right? One of the caveats is she can't fight, so she's normal, like all of us, So
that's awesome.
I love seeing the antics that she gets into and how she has to figure out how to get out of it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the to drop. Oh my gosh.
Well, the art is insane, man. So are you all in Texas?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious because I know she's from Texas, so I was just curious.
Oh, no. And that's a typo because she's from Waxahachie, but that's okay. No, she works at Waxahachie. No. I'm sorry. I got it confused. That's why she writes the character. Sorry. She was born in Dallas.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no.
It looks awesome, man.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah. So it's even down to the particles of radiation. There's a unit of radiation they also call grays. So that's also goes into it, right? So we have other Easter eggs and stuff like that in it that pertains to the name and just how she comes up with the formation of the persona and stuff like that throughout there too. So, nice. But yeah, I love how much she has to pay attention to the output of the energy, right? If you do too much, you can, destroy a bunch of stuff. It does casually kind of absorb some natural energy and light and stuff like that within it. You got to watch that output, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm it either. So there's so much nuance to the tech that she has that she knows nobody else is going to pay attention to, and that's another worry of hers. So
yeah, I love it. That's awesome, man. All right, let's get into what we could find ourselves grabbing here.
So, although the early bird special is done, that package is still available, right? So it's just issues 1, 2, and 3, and the covers for 0, 1, 2, and 3 as well. It was $35. I think it's $45 now, but again, it's 3 books, 4 posters, and of course, if we reach the stretch goals, comes with a bunch of other goodies and stuff like that as well. But we also have a volume that will include issues 0, 1, 2, 3 with it, and it'll be all in one book, which for the gray, that'll be the first time it'll be together with something, right? Because the only time you can get the gray issue 0 has been inside of Tales from Midnight 1 or as a digital. So to have it with the rest of the gray collection, it's definitely in that volume is definitely going to be New.
That's
So,
awesome, man. Yeah. I'm glad I at least got that one.
oh yeah. And then the stretch goes, oh my gosh. So, you know, so we have Ku or Haikusifer who did the bookmark and the stickers that you guys are gonna see, which I'm sure will reach those stretch goals. Oh my gosh, though the artwork on all three of those, the stickers, the bookmarks, phenomenal. I love how she captures the gray. What I'm looking forward to, we saw the completed version of the exclusive print number 2 first, and oh man. So we might, and this is gonna be up to Tosha, but what we might do is when we fund, we'll show all the stuff that can be, and then let you guys know, as it unlocks, be like, all right, this is coming with it. But yeah, and then Oz is gonna be Oz. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's the one that does exclusive print 1, 2, and 3. And man, when I say the artwork on that is also phenomenal. Now we haven't officially said what the last stretch goal is, and we might keep that in the pocket. But yeah, that one I'm also very personally excited for as well. So
nice.
So yeah,
looks amazing, man.
Oh, and then shouts out to there's all their stuff. So once you're back, definitely click on those links and support them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll make sure that all their links are below as well. That way people can follow them on social media and, see all the other great things that they're working on as well.
Yes.
And
here's the missus.
Here's the missus right here. Tosha, the writer, co-creator.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a great picture of you two.
I had to hide that I'm shorter than her.
I would never know, man. I would have never known.
But yeah, and as always, all of our books before we go to Kickstarter are always done. Okay. So there's no worry, nothing happens along the way. So as soon as Kickstarter sends the money, we send everything to the printer and it gets shipped out. So nice. Yeah, so no worries, no real big risks or anything of that nature. But yeah, it's all there. Yeah, we have a bunch of add-ons and stuff. Of course, there's packages that if you're new to Midnight Comics, we have packages that include all the books. Of course, there's add-ons. If there's just one book or two books that you're missing, we have it all available. And the posters that we have available, we have some returning ones from last time, but not only is there the 0, 1, 2, and 3, you'll also see posters like the Fired Up poster that had the Gray and Admani and Sailor Moon outfits, since Tasha is a huge fan of Sailor Moon. And there's a bunch of other fan art images of the Gray that you guys will be able to check out on there as well.
That's beautiful, man. Well, congratulations. You're so close, man.
So close.
Less than $500 away, and you're only 5 days in. I didn't even know that. So you're in good shape, it seems like, Lloyd. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything, but we're going to blast this out everywhere, my friend, to try and get as many eyes on it as possible. So if we could be of any help, or a couple backers, I think that would be amazing. Everybody get over there. All you got to do is type in Gray or Midnight Comics, and it'll pop right up. And you'll see not only Gray, but you'll see all the other things that they have done. And when you back, if you're missing something in your collection, you want to try some of these other characters, there's going to be a lot available. So make sure you get in there and support. Anything else, Lloyd, that we're missing, my friend? Anything else?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I would just ask, of course, everybody, if you guys haven't already, visit midnightcomics.org. If you join the mailing list, you will get a free copy of Soul sent to your email. So you'll get that. Of course, you'll be up to date on everything that we have going on. And of course, check us out. We're Midnight X Comics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube. We're just Midnight Comics.
Nice. And then on YouTube, what are you? You guys have, I've seen Tosha, she does interviews as well too, right?
Yes. So she has a show called Melanin Minds, which basically highlights women of color that are or black women rather, in comics in the space, really. So yeah, I think she just finished season 2. I want to say season 2 or 3.
Okay. Beautiful. I'll put that link down there too.
There we go.
Yeah. No, awesome, Lloyd. Well, congratulations to you and Tosha. Please, on behalf of all of us, let Tosha know congratulations as well. On 3 issues in indie is really difficult to do. So to be able to read 3 and you're already working on 4, this ain't going anywhere, people. So get over there and back it. That way you already have your first few issues, and then, man, we can't wait for issue 4. And then as far as following you on social, just Midnight Comics everywhere, right?
Midnight X Comics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube. That's just Midnight Comics.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, make sure all that's below to make it super easy for everybody. Get out there, back the campaign. Lloyd, thank you so much for hanging with me today. You're welcome at any time, my friend. And I cannot wait to get my hands on Great as well. So I'll be back in right now. But thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. And it was a pleasure meeting you. And please tell Tosha next time. Hope she's able to join, but thank her as well. I love it.
Will do. Will do. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You bet, man. Have a great rest of your week, my friend, and we'll talk soon.
All right, now. You as well.
Thank you.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.